Hi guys, this is Mrs. Gassler, and in this video we're going to talk about naming binary acids and some pretty easy bases. Okay. Now the binary acids, this is how this works. Let me turn my paper here. Okay. If you want to name a binary acid, what we mean by binary is that it's just one element connected to a hydrogen, one element with hydrogen. Okay. Now, all of these acids are really easy to name, and the formulas are easy to write also. But let's try a couple. We got HCl, and then how about HF, and then let's try another one, H2S. Okay. Now, all of these are going to follow the same pattern, and you'll be able to pick it out pretty easily. And then every single other binary acid you'll be able to name in no time. This HCl, so whenever you see this acid with only one thing, it has to have only one thing. If it's got two things, it's actually a ternary acid, which we'll talk about in a different video. This is just for the binary ones, so there's only one thing stuck to the hydrogen. First, you start off by writing hydro. Okay, the hydro goes there. It helps you differentiate between a couple of other acids, which we'll see when we look at the ternary video. But this is hydro, and then you take the element here, and you take the root part of that name. So this is chlorine. I'm going to jot chlorine over here, and this is fluorine, and this is sulfur. Okay, I'm only going to take part of that word. So on this hydro. This is going to be hydro, and then instead of chlorine, I'm going to take just the part that would stick this way. So I'm going to take chlor, and here I'm going to take fluor. I'm leaving off the end here. Sulfur's odd. I'm just going to keep the whole sulfur. Okay. And then the next thing I do is I add, let me underline that so you can see that. Then I add ic to the end. Okay, hydrochloric, hydrofluoric, hydrosulfuric. Okay, see the pattern there? And then acid. Okay, so to summarize here, what I've done is I've taken the hydro, I put in the root, and I put ic at the end, and then acid. Okay, now remember, this is for one element. If it's got two things stuck to it, this is not the pattern you follow. Okay. Now the reason this is H2S and these are all H1s, I have H+, remember H+, and then my chlorine has a -1 charge, and so does my fluorine. They're both in that column 17. Sulfur is in the next column over, which means it has a -2 charge, and in order to balance out that -2, it takes two pluses. So I still have to add up to equal 0. Okay, that has to add to equal 0. That has to add to equal 0. That's why it's H2S. So if you're going from the name back to the formula, then that's what you have to think about. You have to pay attention to the charges here so that you have enough things to balance everything out. But naming binary acids is pretty easy. Okay, let's talk about the easy base naming, which is just as easy. Okay, base names. Now, in these, we're kind of looking more at the Arrhenius bases that all end in OH. Okay, and it's going to have some metal or something stuck to the beginning of it. Okay, for example, NaOH, and then there's CaOH2, and then maybe one more. How about BaOH2? Whoops, the 2 goes on the outside. My bad. Okay. These are pretty easy too. First, you're going to write the name of whatever it's stuck to. So here's sodium. Here's calcium. Here's barium. Okay, so all we did was we wrote the name of the metal. Okay. These are all in those first two columns, so I don't have to worry about any Roman numerals. I don't have to put in ditri. That's for something else anyway. And then I'm going to write the name of this other thing. Now, it doesn't matter whether there is a subscript on it or not. OH, remember, is hydroxide ion, so I'm just going to drop the ion part. So this becomes calcium hydroxide and barium hydroxide. Okay, so I'm going to put the name of the metal and hydroxide. Okay, a note, no need to take care to do anything with the subscript. That subscript is there so that the formula works out. Remember, OH has a -1. Na is +1, OH is -1, so that has to add up to 0, okay? Calcium is +2 and OH is -1, so it takes 2 of those to add up to 0. Same thing for barium. Barium is +2, so we have to have 2 OHs to add up to 0. So that's the reason that there's the 2 there, but it does not show up in the name. So you're going to have to pay attention to that. When you go from name to formula, you have to pay attention to the charges. And if it's from the second column, then it's an OH with a 2 on it. If it's from the first column, then it's just OH. Otherwise, that's pretty easy. That's it. That's it for base naming and for binary acids. Blah, 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 hydroxide, okay? Going to the formula is a little harder because you have to think about the charges. And then for the binary acids, it's hydro something-ic acid, okay? And then you got to pay attention to the charges there too. So as long as you're paying attention to the charges when you try to write the formula, remembering the rest of this is probably pretty easy. If you have any questions, ask your teacher. Thanks for watching.